The Dallas Cowboys and Mike McCarthy have officially now split ways, clearing the way for the Chicago Bears to interview Mike McCarthy. While he's not a favorite candidate by a lot of Bears fans, it does seem like the Bears are still interested in Mike McCarthy. We'll talk about all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into the content for today. So according to Tom Pelissero, the Dallas Cowboys and Mike McCarthy could not come to an agreement on the length of a contract. And so now Mike McCarthy is open to pursuing other opportunities. The Bears, New Orleans Saints, these are the teams that have already expressed interest in Mike McCarthy. And so there you go. The Chicago Bears, as many people know, initially requested to interview Mike McCarthy, which the Cowboys did turn down. Now our list is almost at 20 candidates when it comes down to it, but now Mike McCarthy is free to interview at any point in time. To go over the resume, Mike McCarthy, everybody knows it. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. He's won the Super Bowl. He's won 169 and 104-2 over his record in the NFL. He's had 12 playoff appearances. He has a Super Bowl championship as well. And so, hey, that's what it comes down to. I listen, I'm not the biggest Mike McCarthy guy, mainly because of reasons still within the game of football, but outside of the X's and O's part of football. He's 19-7 against the Bears all time, so that's what it comes down to as well. He's on the list, and the Bears are probably going to interview him, regardless of how Bears fans feel when it comes down to it. I think now with Vrabel out, it does open the door to other veteran coaches, and we'll see what happens to it. Again, this is not a guy that you're going to hear me say that I would love to see the Bears hire, or a guy that I think should be the favorite for the Bears, but it is a guy that the Bears have expressed interest in before, and kind of be disingenuous to not realize that the Bears could have some interest once again in Mike McCarthy when it comes down to it. So we'll see what happens. No former Packers expected these comments. What's good, Mike? Glad to have you in the building. TG says, this is the coach you want. This is the coach you want. Willie Beeman says, hire McCarthy now. Okay, see, I like that. There's a lot of varying opinions when it comes to this. There's some people that say no. There are some people that would love to see Mike McCarthy hired by the Bears, but we'll see what happens down to it. No. You got to say it in the Caesar voice. If you can't do the Caesar voice, check your nuts. Why ain't they dropped? You should be able to say the Caesar voice. Brett says, please, Lord, no. I would not be mad at McCarthy if he became head coach, even though he's an op, but he does know how to coach. And listen, I'll say this. Mike McCarthy's better than any of the last 3 Bears head coaches. I mean, and again, I can separate my personal opinion from being objective and talk about the game of football. My personal opinion, hell no, I don't want to see Mike McCarthy coach the Chicago Bears, mainly because he's an op. It's never worked out for the Chicago Bears. And I will say this, it's not like he had the greatest success in Dallas, but it's not like he failed hugely in Dallas either. Dallas is just a doomed franchise. Now, for the football side of things, I do think Mike McCarthy would pick solid assistants. I do think he has that leader of men quality. I do think that he come in and set an expectation on what it means to play under him. I think all those things will happen. But again, personal, no. But at the end of the day, too, the Bears may not be able to turn down a coach with the resume of Mike McCarthy if their top candidates end up not getting hired. What's going on, Bobby?
What up, man? I'm in the lab. I see, what the hell? Bro, move quick.
Yeah, so I got a time limit on this one, so I was like, let me go ahead and hop on real quick.
Right,
how you feeling about it, though, Bobby?
It's interesting, man. It's very, very interesting. I came in while you was cooking up, and I believe all the things are valid, especially for the him being an op. You know what I'm saying? Coached in Green Bay. But it is an interesting thing because this type of opening for me and looking at how the Bears move, they are very excited. This is happening right now, in my opinion, because they already shown interest before, but was denied earlier on. And then I ain't gonna lie to you, Haize. I looked at Mike Tomlin yesterday a little bit differently this past weekend.
Yeah.
And I just gotta ask the question for those out there. If Mike Tomlin and Mike McCarthy was switched, will football fans feel the same exact way about both? You know what I'm saying? Like, would they be shitting on Mike Tomlin and him being an op and looking at Mike McCarthy as a leader of men? If because you're talking about both coaches being a one-time Super Bowl winning coach, and then after that, yes, winning seasons, but both coaches fizzling and out in bad ways in the playoffs. Ugh.
Yeah, you had some Bears fans that say that the Bears should be interested looking into if it took trading for Mike Tomlin. So that's a great point, Bobby. That's a great point.
Yeah, bro. It's just right now that's why we don't get paid the millions of dollars to make these decisions, because you can pros and cons this thing all the way down on why or why not to bring in Mike McCarthy. But I don't know. Just for me hearing this, I think the Bears might be interested in moving this guy up their candidates list if that interview goes well, if they do indeed receive one.
Yeah, I agree too. I think that he is going to go towards the top of their candidate list if he interviews. And like I was saying, as you were coming in, it just comes to the record. I see people in here like he couldn't get Dallas over the hump. There's a lot going on with Dallas more than just the coaching. I think and you can't it's like at that point, like you look at almost every head coach has failed at some point in time. That's why they're available, right? Unless you're hiring a first time head coach. So you're going to be able to point out to a failure of every head coach. And again, I'm not the biggest Mike McCarthy guy, but trying to be objective about football, there are some things that you can look at and say it can make some sense. I tell you that, and you can say he couldn't get Dallas over the hump. Well, hell, the Bears need to be able to get to the hump. We ain't been able to get to the hump for the last 35 years. So
that's a fact.
Yeah, let's worry about getting over the hump when we can get to the motherfucker. How about that?
That's a real thing. Hey, you can't lie though. Like he has had his screw ups. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Especially with time management and stuff like that. But when we go and we evaluate these candidates and we come with an objective mind, we got to keep it real. They never got this man the number 2 wide receiver. They tried to get it in Brandon Cooks. That didn't work out. Their offensive line, they didn't really revamp that. Things, we could point to different situations, and it does suck that we seen him lose in dramatic fashion at home during the regular season as the Cowboys coach, and then the way that some of his playoffs ended in Green Bay and in Dallas.
Yeah.
I still think the Bears like him as a candidate for sure, because a lot of players, when they come out and talk about Mike McCarthy, they speak highly of him, and especially like guys like with their own podcast, like Micah Parsons being one of them at least.
Absolutely. And Mike McCarthy as well. Like, let's be clear. Like I said, not my favorite, but I'm talking about football objectively. 18 seasons coaching. He's only had a losing record 5 times. Wouldn't y'all like that in Chicago?
Shit, we'll take that. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm just
we'll take that.
We've been doing this show 3 years and haven't had a winning record yet. I'm just saying,
like literally, we like 14 and like 38 or some shit. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, again, you could say a lot of positive and negatives about all these candidates. There's no one clear-cut candidate that instantly is going to have success, and that's partially also because of it's more than just the coach that makes you have success. You got to also look at the front office and what they're doing. So at the end of the day, like, the Bears are going to interview everybody. I'm going to have my thoughts on who they interview and, of course, who they eventually hire. But it all comes down to one thing: are they winning football games? That's it.
That's it. Because even if we do get Ben Johnson, we gonna feel, most of us, me especially, because he was my first choice, I'd be like, cool, I'm happy with the hire. But again, we've been through this for the last 3 seasons. Everything, the offense, the off seasons, we crowning Pose. We saying call up Pose. He cooking up another deal. Let him cook. Let him do this. And then it's time to actually put the product on the field. And yeah. So regardless of who they actually go out there and hire, hey, y'all gonna get some objectivity out of me, but I don't know if I'm gonna be super excited about anything until I see Dubs in the win column, for sure.
That's a fact. Big fact. One super chat before we get out of here. He's Aaron Rodgers in disguise, like the little alien in Men in Black. Don't hire him. That is hilarious.
That's
First
a
of all,
great way to
you'd
end.
be able to smell it, much less like he may be able to hide physically. Aaron Rodgers looks like he smelled like shit. So I mean, you'd be able to smell him coming. So you know,
For
that's what it
real.
is when it
You
comes
gonna
down.
smell them spoons getting hot. That's what you talking about.
Why does it smell like burnt plastic in here?
Right. What
Aaron
the fuck
Rodgers is in
going
the
on?
building.
Who in the bathroom? Shit.
Anyway, man, any last thoughts, Bob, before we get up out of here, man?
Hey, y'all, we just gonna keep going through with the going through and see what happens. We don't know who gonna be this coach right now. Right now, I think they just now on interview 8. So get ready.
Out of 20,
now
almost 20.
they about to add another candidate. So just get ready.
Yeah, it's about to be fun. We're about to see a lot of news dropping. I'm sure you'll probably see our faces again. I'm sure there's going to be some type of Bears news happening before the end of the day, man. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you're following us at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, 773-242-9336.